Hello fans of pro volleyball, welcome to the channel. This will be my fourth and final video I'll be doing on the men's 2018 Volleyball World Championships. It was an exciting tournament, full of lots of ups and downs, a few surprises at the end, and tons of really fantastic volleyball played at the highest level. Now that we've had a few days to process it and celebrate if you guys are a Polish fan, thought it'd be a good time to talk about the tournament, what I thought of it, how my predictions turned out, obviously not great, and, kind of think about how we can improve the format for next time. First of all, I want to congratulate Poland on their win. A gold medal in the World Championships is an awesome accomplishment. The team should be proud of how they played, and the country should be proud of how much they supported them. And congrats to Brazil and the Americans for their silver and bronze medals respectively. Even if they didn't win, it's really tough to get that far in a tournament this long and grueling. Now, I'm sure some of you are here to gloat at my prediction that Brazil and Poland would not make it to the semifinals of the final six. A prediction that was obviously pretty wrong in hindsight. Okay, so first I'm going to talk a little bit about why I made those predictions in the first place. First, for Poland. Poland had struggled at the 2016 Olympics, 2017 World League, and the 2018 Nations League. And obviously, while the World League and Nations League don't have the same pedigree as the World Championships, there seemed to be a common theme of them getting close to the end of a tournament and then kind of falling off near the end. Additionally, they did do well against Iran and Bulgaria in the first round, but as we saw, these didn't turn out to be the toughest opponents in the tournament. And then, in the second round, right before I made my predictions, they had a pretty convincing loss to France, who didn't even end up making the final six, and also had that kind of controversial loss to Argentina. And while they did have a convincing win against Serbia, I didn't think that was enough to outweigh Bartosz Kurek struggling and Michal Kubiak being extremely sick and not being able to play at 100%. However, the team in the final six really stepped it up into overdrive. Kurek obviously played incredibly, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. Kubiak was a leader on the court and was the heart and soul of that team on defense. And they really just got contributions from so many different players. Kohanovsky, Bieniek, Novakovsky, Shalpuk, Shlivka, Drizja. That whole team played awesome. It was really great to watch. A real underdog story. They weren't favored in any of the games they played in the final six, so for them to come and win the gold medal is a huge, impressive accomplishment. Poland, I don't think I underrated too badly because of their past performances and the fact that they really fought against the odds to win this tournament, but I probably should have known better than to bet against Brazil. They've been to the semifinals of almost every major tournament that we've had in volleyball for the past 20 years, and they didn't disappoint this tournament either. I thought they would take a step back, obviously because they're missing their two starting outside hitters in Lucarelli and Mauricio Borges. Lipe and Douglas Souza really stepped into that role, especially Douglas Souza had a fantastic tournament, one of the dream team outsides. I also thought that Brazil's age would start to catch up to them. Bruno's 32, Lucas is 32, Lipe is 34, and obviously that's not too old to play volleyball anymore, but at that age, it gets hard to play consistently for an entire tournament like this. They definitely had enough juice left in the tank though, with their impressive silver medal performance. One of the things that I underestimated on both these teams was the importance of depth. In a tournament like this where you have to win 12 games to get the gold medal, being able to play with and win with multiple lineups becomes extremely important. We saw several other teams, specifically the Americans and the Italians, start to lose their composure later on in the tournament due to exhaustion. Poland and Brazil's depth allowed them to play lots of lineups throughout the tournament and ensured that everyone had lots of energy to play with in that final round. So congrats to both those teams once again, definitely underrated them. And it's crazy that Brazil is adding Joandri Leal and that Poland is adding Wilfredo Leon, two guys I had in the top 5 of my top 10 outsides video. So both teams are going to get even more dangerous as time goes on, and both will definitely be top contenders at the 2020 Olympic Games. Now I want to talk a bit about the actual final 6 games themselves. Both teams were actually very close to being knocked out, and in these games they had, I think, their definitive wins. With Poland, it was that semi-final game against the USA, where they came back after being down 2-1. Bartosz Kurek was awesome in this game. He had 24 kills and 5 really important blocks against Aaron Russell and Taylor Sander, two of the best outsides in the world. Brazil's signature win was against Russia, who beat them in the first 2 sets pretty convincingly, but then William Arjona came in, El Mago, and led the team to come back and really fight its way back to win the next 3 sets. Honestly, one of the best comebacks I've watched in volleyball recently. And then the finals. I wish it was a bit closer, but Poland was just on another level that game, and especially Bartosz Kurek, who had 20 kills on 29 hits in a final game against Brazil, one of the best teams in the world. This is an awesome redemption story for Bartosz Kurek, who has not had the smoothest last few years. He was left off the 2014 team that won the World Championships, and his last few club seasons, especially in last season in Ziraat Benghazi Ankara, were underwhelming to say the least. But the way he was playing in the finals, he really looked like the best player in the world. A well-deserved MVP of the tournament, and I'm glad he finally got that gold medal. Also shout out to Mikhail Kubiak, who was apparently bedridden with a pretty severe sickness just days before the final 6, but managed to bounce back, and in that final game, scored 12 points and provided great defense both in the front row and in the back row that contributed to Poland's victory. Also congrats to this American team, who had their first podium finish since 1994 when they also won bronze. It was a grueling match they played with Poland in that semifinals, as I mentioned before, and I think they likely would have gone on to win the gold if they just pulled it out in that 5th set. I agreed with the dream team for the most part, not that there were a ton of options that the FIVB had. For those of you who don't know it, it was Mikhail Kubiak and Douglas Souza at outside, Matt Anderson at opposite, Micah Christensen at setter, Lucas Sakamp and Piotr Nowakovsky at middle, Pavel Satorsky at libero, and Bartosz Kurek as your MVP. I think the one that seemed the most surprising to most people was Douglas Souza as one of the top outsides. I for one thought Douglas Souza had an amazing tournament overall. Maybe he didn't play great in the finals, but his passing was so important to Brazil's offense this tournament, and there's no way they would have been in the finals without him. It is a shame leaving the American outside hitter Taylor Sander off this list though. In my opinion, he might have been the best outside of the entire tournament, but the two guys who did win the awards were very deserving. In the future though, I do hope they expand it to include players who weren't on the medalist teams. There's so many great players in this tournament who weren't on one of the final 3 teams. It's a shame that they don't get some sort of recognition. Maybe do 2 teams instead of 1 so you get to appreciate more players. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Now, if you guys don't like complaining, I would turn off this part of the video now because I'm about to give my thoughts on the overall tournament, the format, things like that. I want to preface this rant with the fact that I actually really enjoyed the tournament. There was some awesome volleyball being played. I think this is really the best generation of volleyball we've seen by far. The skill and athleticism of all these players is incredibly high, and watching even the low-level games was really fun and a great deal of entertainment for me. There is a giant pile of things that we can improve upon though. Number 1, the format. We really don't need 3 phases of pool play. Most tournaments only have 1, just the initial group stage, and then you go right into a single elimination bracket. Several teams definitely got screwed over by this format, mainly France, who had Brazil, Canada, Netherlands in their first pool, and then Poland and Serbia in their second pool. And they even beat Poland pretty convincingly 3-1 in the second round, but still didn't have enough points to make the finals because of the quirks of the format. That's another thing. Points should not have been carried over from the first to the second round. We saw Italy and Poland, our eventual world champions, have their points carried over from the first round to the second round when they had much easier pools. And then the final 6. I think the most common complaint for fans. Why do we need a final 6? Just do an 8-team single elimination bracket. It would make things more exciting for the fans. It would reduce the number of games that the players have to play, which is one of their main complaints. And it would just be so much simpler. We wouldn't have to do math after every game in the final 6. It would just make the tournament so much better. I really don't know anyone who would be against this. We had a completely meaningless day of games on the Friday before the finals. 2 days before the finals. There is no way you should have meaningless games 2 days before the finals. The tournament should be getting more and more exciting, crescendoing to a peak, not sputtering out. It really ruined the pace of the tournament that we had that USA-Brazil game that didn't mean anything, and then that Poland-Serbia game that didn't mean anything. It ruined the momentum of the tournament and made the final round less enjoyable. The other major complaint I have is about the production value of the tournament. I don't know how much this applies to all of you, mainly to the people who paid $20 to $30 for the Volleyball World TV app. I'm kind of jealous of the Italian, Polish, and Brazilian broadcast who got their own pre-game shows, announcers who actually knew what they were talking about, and that kind of thing. It looked pretty cool. Unfortunately, I don't understand it, so I can't watch it. But for those of you who want to know what it's like, I'll play you a brief clip here.
Nice blocking from Serbia.
I'm sure Clayton Lucas is a great guy. Seems like a guy I would love to get a pint with at the pub after a match. but he doesn't really know the players, their history, their storylines, doesn't talk about stats, he doesn't talk about strategy. We need a quality two-man commentating team, one color commentator and one play-by-play guy. There's so much downtime in volleyball that having those commentators to engage you really would just drastically increase the quality of the broadcast and the entertainment value. Also, we need to get better replays. Often they just show the player and not the ball, and they don't really show replays from many different angles. We should be able to watch warm-ups. I'm not sure why we can't do that. This is 4 times the cost of my Netflix subscription. I should be able to watch on more than one device at once. Also, there's a ton of uncaptured demand in the market, given that tons of people were asking for streams to watch a game on. So I'd recommend either lowering the price or offering piecemeal games, maybe one game at once for $1 or $2, or providing some of the streams for free and some in a premium expanded paid service. At the moment, there's simply too many huge fans of volleyball who just aren't willing to pay that $20 to $30 for the full premium volleyball TV service. I like the direction they're going, and I do think sports streaming online is the future, but you really need to add a lot more value to the product if you want people to pay that amount of money. But overall, I enjoyed the tournament. The level of volleyball is really high. Unfortunately, my team Canada got knocked out too early, but Poland, Brazil, USA, you guys are great. Sorry for underestimating you. The women's tournament is going on right now. I hope you guys are watching that. Canada also getting knocked out pretty early at that, but a lot of great teams and players participating in that as well. If you want to see some more of my thoughts on the tournament, I posted an article on my website, FIVB.com. Posted a link to that in the description. And also be doing a lot more podcasting in a few weeks, doing some previews about the upcoming club season. And of course, my next video will be the top 10 liberos, finally finishing off that series. If you're a fan of pro volleyball, or a Polish fan who wants me to bend the knee and kiss the ring but don't touch the Polish crown, that's a real comment I got, by the way, go look it up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Gonna try and be doing a lot more videos over this upcoming club season that I hope you guys will enjoy. Thanks for watching.